Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to the Trinity Stamps YouTube channel. In our card making video today, I will be making a light up shaker card featuring some of our newest products. We have a really cute backyard pool stamp set, and once I saw this Snappy birthday alligator, I couldn't wait to put him in the pool. So this is the backyard stamp set, or backyard pool stamp set, and there are dies in this to cut out some words, which is really cool, but also a die to make it a shaker. There's the Snappy birthday alligator or crocodile, and I couldn't wait to have him popping up out of the pool. I thought I'd show you some examples I've already made with this set so you can see the wording on there, and then I put the new summertime gnomes in the pool, which are perfect for this scene. And then here's a card I made with the Snappy birthday so you could see that as well. And now it's time for me to combine them, and we're going to be making a shaker so you can see how I did that, plus a light up. So let's jump right in. This is a piece of white cardstock that I'm going to stamp down the pool, and it is sized 5.5 by 4 1/4, so it's full A2 sized, and this has the entire scene on it. There are a couple other stamps to make more grassy elements and waves in the pool if you want in the stamp set as well. And then I'll use one of those on today's card. So I'm stamping this with black ink. I'm going to be doing Copic coloring. I'm not going to show you all of the coloring because I have a few areas I really want to share with you. So I'm going to highlight those specifically. So now I've got both of my images stamped out. You can see that they're just darling and super fun with that cake in his mouth and the party hat. I love it. Okay, so for my fence, I wanted it to look like a white picket fence. So I just used some tonal gray markers to do that with a little bit of shadowing. And then I used some warm grays on the rock there. And then onto the grass, this is where I'm going to use that extra stamp just to fill in this bottom corner a little bit. And then you'll be able to see the markers I'm using for that, starting with my YG 67, I'm pretty sure it's there on the screen for you. YG17 is my midtone, and then my lightest color, which is pretty much the entire color of the lawn itself, is my YG03. And I think this is a really fun combination for grass. It's kind of what grass looks like in the really hot summer when it's you know, a little overheated. It's starting to not be so vibrant, at least here in Idaho where I live, and it's been in the hundreds for a week. Yeah, over 100 degrees. Yeah, everybody wants a backyard pool now. For the pool itself, I'm not coloring in the water. I'm just coloring up the edge, and that's because I am turning this into a shaker, so I'm going to cut that middle piece out. So I really just need to focus on those little tiles around the edge, the little bit of concrete coming down there on the back side of it, and then the diving board itself. So very easy coloring for this part, and I thought blue would be a nice like burst of color there. All right, so the one part I really wanted to show you for the coloring is the sunset background that I'm going to make behind the fence. So I'm starting with Y06 to create my sun, and then Y08, which is a good marker that helps you transition towards orange. And so I'm adding that as well. And everything that I'm showing you here, I am going to go back over it one time, kind of like I'm doing right here. Once I get all the colors down, I'm going to go over it again, and that's really going to help everything blend out. But I'm just going to go from yellow to orange to pink to purple to create my sunset here. So this is YR14 that I have here, another good color to go between the yellow and orange that would blend together pretty well. And then for my pink, I'm going with my R22. This has to be one of my favorite pinks. I reach for this one a lot. It does have a little touch of coral in it, which helps it to blend well with that orange. So you can see coloring in kind of a circular motion. I tend to do that a lot unless I want a flicking motion, which I didn't want for this sunset. So here we have our RV24. It's kind of a dusty pink, almost purple, and then that's going to help me transition over to my purples. So here I have RV55, I believe, and I'm just making that area bigger each time that I color. And you can see it's not quite solid in each color, but I am going to go over this again, so I don't need to worry about it being perfectly colored if there's a few areas that are lighter, because like I said, I'm doing all of this from start to finish one more time, and you can see how that really blends everything out beautifully. Here's all the markers up close. You can really see what colors I used, and then I'm going to show you the alligator but not do any coloring because there's two other coloring parts I really want you to see, but those are the markers that I used to color him up. There are dies to cut him out. It's going to cut pretty tight around the bottom part of the die, like around that water line and the little lily pads. And I'm not sure exactly what I want, but I do end up cutting all of that away. So you'll see that. But we're going to move on to creating the shaker part of our card. So there's a die in the set that cuts out the water. And I got mine where I have a little bit more white space on the bottom than on the back side of the pool, or the front part has more of a white, extra white than the back side. So I'm going to cut that away so it's more even and less white showing. I just liked better for this particular shaker. All right, for the water, I'm going to color out what I think kind of looks like pool water. So I'm going to color some blobs. I'm starting with B01, and then I have B02. I'm going to color right on top of that. And I actually picked 4 markers. Now, in hindsight, after completely making this, I think 3 colors would have been fine, or even 2. So play with this. And it's a really free form kind of thing, so you can really kind of customize it and just have fun with it. So when I'm making these blobs, I want them to be irregular shapes. I want the edges to be soft, not a crisp edge. And when I'm coloring, you can see I'm doing some really loopy coloring. That's so I have areas that are lighter and areas that are darker, which is what I feel you can see when you look at a pool. So that's what I'm doing, and I feel like it turned out pretty good. I did go over all of these a second time. Once I started going, I realized I really only wanted to go over all of them with the B01, and that's because I wanted the line between my shapes to be really thin, like a string, because that's kind of what you see in a pool. So here they're closer together, but when I go over everything again, I'm really going to make that line between all the shapes closer. Also, I feel like I could have made more that were smaller and not so many, like, I don't know, triangular shapes, but when I look at pictures of pool water, I do see some pointy areas, and we'll go over that with the next 2 steps of this process. So here I'm almost done. I'm just laying it behind my card every once in a while to make sure I don't have any open spaces. Now, as far as lines go, you do see a lot of lines through the water. So I'm taking my colorless blender and drawing out some lines. This is going to almost give it like the effect of a watermark. It's not going to be a hard, crisp line. It's going to be really soft and subtle. And I think when you're making something that's detailed, it's nice to have that subtle look paired with the crisp lines. And like when I'm coloring a cupcake, and I'm making the cake, I want some of the crumb of the cake to be almost the same color as I colored it, but then some of them to be darker. That's kind of what I'm going for here. Really light, subtle lines just drawn through the water. And then for my crisp lines, I'm coming in with a white gel pen and doing the same kind of wavy lines that cross over and intersect with each other. And this is where I see more of the angular lines in the pool water than in the blobs themselves. So really just play with this. It's a ton of fun to do, and it doesn't require like a lot of precision. So give it a try. I recommend it. It's pretty fun. Okay, so now I'm just cutting away all the parts on the crocodile that I don't want, the lily pads and that horizon kind of line. Just cutting those away with some scissors, but I like that part around the bottom that looks like he's coming up out of the water, and I'm going to use the same exact markers that I used for the pool water on that. Next, I need to trace out where my pool's going to go, and I need to cut away some of this paper because remember, I'm also creating a light up feature on this card, and some of this is going to interfere. Not all of it is going to interfere that I'm cutting away, and I'm going to wish I cut away less of it. You'll see what I mean. as we go. I'm erasing that pencil line and then adding on my window sheet to the back of the pool. Just a little bit of adhesive, really whichever adhesive you like, whether it's wet adhesive or dry adhesive, they all work well for this. So I'm also going to cut away the corner of the window sheet so it doesn't interfere with the area where my light up mechanism is going to be. All right, so there it is, covered with the acetate. I'm going to lay everything out where it's going to go, and then it's time to pierce the hole where my light is going to come through this card. So I'm kind of building my shaker card and my light up interactive feature simultaneously, making sure that I don't proceed too far with one step that is going to hinder me in making either one of those mechanisms. All right, so here's the light I'm using. This is the one light from Pearblossom Press. I'm just taking out the battery, putting the plus symbol in so that it lines up with the plus symbol on the battery pack, and then I just need to take the little yellow light and line it up with the hole that I created, and that's going to light up the candle on the cake. I also noticed that it was lighting up a lot of the background of my card, and I just wanted to show through where the candle is, so I'm going to create a little blackout piece. I poked a hole in it, and I'll just line the two holes up, and that really helps direct the light where I want it to go and not light up that whole background. I'm going to tape the battery pack into place and then double check to make sure everything is good before I proceed, and it's going to line up how I want. I am bringing in the world's best foam tape. This tape is designed by Pearblossom Press so that it is the same thickness as the battery pack that's on the back of my card. It also works amazingly well for shaker cards, so it is perfect to make both of these at once. All right, so this tape is repositionable up to 30 minutes. So if you get it wrong, you can always scoot it, which I absolutely love. All right, it is time to fill the shaker up. I have Snorkel confetti bits from Trinity Stamps. They are a perfect color match to my water, and they have an iridescent finish, which gives you that like hint of shine that you see when you look at a pool. And now you'll notice why I wish I wouldn't have cut away so much of my pool background, because I have some holes there where the shaker bits can escape. So I need to add this to a second piece of cardstock, where normally I would just put this down onto my card base, but if I try to put my card base down on top, I might not get it right. So I cut a panel that was just like 1/8 of an inch smaller than the front of this panel and put that on the back to cover everything up. And then I can attach the whole thing to my A2 size card base. All right, I am gluing the alligator down into place, being very careful to make sure that the candle and the light are lined up well and where I want them to be. All right, for a interactive hint on this card, I have the Papercrafting Magic Set. I'm going to stamp out the word push, and I'm going to adhere that right over the top of where that button is. It's really easy to do. You kind of have an idea of where that button is going to be anyway, and so I just lay it down, figure out where the best placement is, and glue it into place. Also in this set is the word shake. So I stamped that, and I'm coloring it up with my YG17 so it'll kind of coordinate with the grass, and then I can put that down at the bottom so you can kind of see the two interactive elements on this card with, you know, those little hints and the stamped sentiment. All right, so next I have our graham cracker alphabet from Trinity, and I'm going to die cut the word surprise from this purple glitter cardstock, which I backed with a piece of our rip and stick sheet. So it's going to make them kind of like a sticker, and then it's really easy to adhere them into place on my background. And it just so happens that this purple glitter paper that I had in my stash goes really well with the purple in my little sunset there. So there is my completed card front, but we're not done yet. I'm going to add this to a card base that's A2 top folding, and I thought the outside was so super cool. I needed to do something cool on the inside. So I brought in the It's Time to Celebrate, which is also new from the Trinity Stamps June birthday release, and I am going to color out the word happy birthday using those same exact markers that I used to color the sunset. And I'm going to create kind of a you know, what would be an ombre, except I'm using different colors, and I'm starting with the purples at the top. So when I get to the bottom of the letters for the word happy, it's going to fade into that orangey yellow, and then I'm going to do the opposite on the word birthday. So I'm going to start with the purples on the bottom of the word birthday, and it's going to change over to that orangey yellow at the top. That way all my orange and yellow is going to meet in the middle of this sentiment. It's so cool. I find these images from Love Dani so fun to color. I just love word art. I remember when I was little drawing like bubble letters and coloring them in or putting different patterns in them, and I loved it. I did add a little accent with white gel pen on them after completing the coloring, and then I'm going to use the coordinating die to cut this out, and it is ready to go on the inside of the card, and it really is that little extra special something that this card needed, and now it's like ready to go. And we've got our light up feature and we have our shaker feature. Isn't that so fun? Yeah, and it's really like once you see it go together, you realize, oh, it's not that hard. And the pool is really easy to make as a shaker by itself, or you don't have to make it a shaker. So lots of choices here. You could make this card completely without any of the interactive elements. So thank you so much for stopping by and letting me share this creation with you that's been rolling around in my head. I'm finally got it out, and I'm going to mail it off. That's my goal. So thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more Trinity Stamps videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel, and you can find us on Facebook and Instagram as well. I'll see you all again very soon. Happy stamping. Bye.